Ron.
Yeah.
Why didn't you say it the first time I said Ron?
Because it's pronounced Aaron.
You done messed up, Ron.
Aaron is here, everyone. Welcome back. Remember, every day is a great day not to be in a cult. Guys, there have been so many questions surrounding Scientology's involvement or perceived involvement or speculated involvement in the threatened foreclosure of Graceland. Seems like there was like a $3.8 million loan that was allegedly taken out by Lisa Marie Presley before she passed. That loan was not repaid. The lender attempted to foreclose and put the property up to auction. Riley Keough, Lisa Marie's daughter, Elvis's granddaughter, said the signature on the loan was fraudulent. I get so many emails asking what Scientology's involvement in this is. For the record, I don't believe Scientology has any involvement. For the record as well, I believe and will make arguments for Riley Keough and Priscilla Presley both being completely out of Scientology. That is my personal take on it. However, friend of the channel, Dodge Landisman, was in Nashville for the hearing yesterday, and he's going to join me right now to chat about it. How's it going, Dodge?
Good. Getting the band back together. It's Slight correction, Memphis, not Nashville.
Oh, my fault. Sorry. Yeah, totally.
Hey, what's up?
By the way, I'm quickly going to switch from Wi-Fi signal to hardwired signal in case we get any interruption. Here we go. Okay, so what happened yesterday? What can you tell us?
Yeah, yesterday was a very
crap. Are you frozen? Oh no! Hold on, Dodge. I can't see anything. Are you back?
Can you see me?
I can see you now. We're all good. Okay,
Okay,
so
cool.
What happened in Memphis yesterday? What happened in Memphis yesterday?
So thank you for asking. So yeah, yesterday was a very quick 3-minute hearing. And the hearing was about filing an injunction to stop the auction of both the contents inside of Graceland as well as Graceland itself. Nassani Investments, this kind of very mysterious, shady company, said that Lisa Marie Presley, in exchange for a $3.8 million loan, offered up the deed to the Graceland as well as its content. Altogether, the Graceland house is worth much less than the content of everything in it. Altogether, it's supposed to be listed at about $500 million. So odd to give the deed to Graceland worth $500 million when you're only trying to get apparently a $3.8 million loan. Long story short, everybody assumed that this company would essentially be a paper tiger and would not show up. That's why the hearing was only 3 minutes. The judge inside the courtroom appeared to be very sympathetic. And in addition to calling out this potential fraud, because Riley Keough said the signature on the deed was a total fraud, the notary who apparently confirmed who confirmed the signature of Lisa Marie, she testified that she had never been contacted and has no idea as to this whole situation, that she never notarized anything. So the judge said two parts, essentially one, that this apparently looks like fraud, but regardless, he's stopping the injunction due to the significance that Graceland has with the community. So it's a story that's pretty wild.
You said stopping the injunction, but that's not what you meant, right?
Creating an injunction to stop from the Graceland being put up for auction.
The notary that the lender claims verified the identity, vouched for this whole thing, is saying she had no involvement in this whatsoever.
No involvement, never been contacted, didn't know her.
So this is outright fraud.
Yes, pretty blatantly. So it's shocking they even tried this in the first place. Then you have to ask, well, if they knew they were going to lose from day one. And then 2 hours later, they issued they were never before. They were really impossible to contact. The press was trying to contact them. It didn't work. Finally, they did connect with one local media source. And they put out this very interesting statement. It's a quick one. Due to the deed of trust not being recorded and the loan being obtained in a different state, legal action would have to be filed in multiple states, and Nassani Investments and Private Lending will not acquire to proceed. Odd phrasing. That comes from consultation of the lawyers for the company. There was no harm meant on Miss Keough or her mother's LMP mishabits, they actually say it this way, and mismanaging of money. The company will be will be withdrawing all claims with prejudice. That was their one statement.
Wow. Oh my goodness. So I apologize if you said this and I missed this, but did nobody from this company or any of the representatives or lawyers or anything show up at the hearing?
Nothing. Nobody. Nothing. We don't even know what they look like.
Someone's going to jail.
I'd imagine. I mean, it's shocking they tried this in the first place because, yeah, this is blatant fraud. And, as soon as they pin the guy down who created this fraud, yeah, I mean, that's probably why they didn't show up, right? I mean, they show up, they could be in cuffs, the next court date.
Wow. That is insane. Okay, so Priscilla Presley's son, Riley Keough's brother, Navarone, has agreed to do another chat with me soon as we can make our schedules
badass.
align here.
Yeah.
And, the chat that I'm going to have with Navarone, we had an amazing chat a few months ago. Our chats was not supposed to have anything to do with Riley or the Graceland situation. I want to chat with Navarone about the continued speculation that his mother, Priscilla, is still in Scientology, despite
that's a big part
despite what I believe is a lot of evidence to the contrary, including Navarone's own statements, including Navarone saying that he spoke with his mom about coming on my channel and she was fully in support of it and everything like that. And I realize it's a different subject than what you and I are talking about right now, but I just want to throw it in there.
And a lot of people have that impression, and I even had that impression, that she was still very much committed to Scientology, and that part of this battle might have been an internal battle between her and Riley because Priscilla was more loyal to Scientology and Riley. Now I'm glad you're clearing that up. I mean, that's super important to clear it up because that's part of that. Some people think that's part of the narrative, and I even thought it was part of the narrative, that she was still very much this hardcore committed Scientologist. So but her son's saying hell no. So obviously if her son's saying that, that's, pretty cut and dry.
And so I'll give you some of my thoughts on it, and then just feel free to ask me any follow-ups if you'd like to. But so one piece of circumstantial evidence that not only is Priscilla out of Scientology, but in fact, Priscilla and Riley are both out of Scientology, is they sued each other over the will, or, the trust. Scientologists aren't allowed to sue each other.
Oh, that's funny. Huh.
Now, technically speaking, if someone really wants to get into the weeds and be very literal, the Scientology policy says you have to request permission from Scientology's International Justice Chief, and you have to receive a reply. The policy letter doesn't specifically say, and you have to receive approval. It says you have to receive a reply. But here's the loophole. The reply that the International Justice Chief will send you is a reply that says basically proceed with caution, proceed on your own determinism, but the applicable reference is offenses and penalties, and the International Justice Chief will simply refer you to the reference that says it is a suppressive act to sue another Scientologist. So
like religious arbitration.
So on the one hand, their policy says, well, you can't sue another Scientologist without asking IJC and receiving a reply. And that might make it seem, well, once I receive a reply, I can do what I want no matter what the reply is. Right. Except the reply says, do whatever you want, but just know that the policy that covers this is the policy that says you will be declared if you do that. So it's sort of a loophole. It's a bit circular, but my point is to any Scientologists who know what they're talking about, you cannot sue another Scientologist, especially something that's going to be public headlines. It's going to be in the press. It's going to get worldwide attention. And so now, but here's the thing: people who might want to push back on the idea that these two are actually out of Scientology.
Right. One could be, one could not be, arguably, right? Riley could be out and Priscilla. I mean, people would make the argument that Riley could have been out, but Priscilla was still in. So therefore, you'd be allowed to sue.
You're right. But here's the loophole, because you're correct. Someone can make that argument. Here's the loophole. Priscilla's out of Scientology. She has not been officially declared a suppressive person.
Right.
Okay. Those policies that Scientologists have to apply only cease to apply when the other person is officially declared a suppressive person and therefore no longer under the protection of the policies.
Right.
Now, because Priscilla is such a celebrity and because she's never publicly criticized Scientology, on the one hand, her being a celebrity gives her some wiggle room. They break rules all the time for celebrities. And also the fact that she's never publicly criticized Scientology or David Miscavige is sort of a loophole that Scientology can use not to declare her.
Right.
Okay. And, because she's a celebrity and so's Riley, just by nature of the family, they do operate by their own set of rules. But what I know just from personal contacts in the Scientology world and the former Scientology world, it's not that Riley cares about or likes Scientology. It's that Riley really loves her Scientologist friends, like Jibin Flores, for example. Was it Jibin or Georgie? I can never keep it straight. And she's just someone who's like, I like my friends and I'm going to keep my friends, and I don't care if they're Scientologists, and therefore I'm going to keep my mouth shut so that I don't make life miserable, so that my Scientologist friends aren't forced to disconnect from me. She knows that David Miscavige will give her as much leash as she needs, as long as she doesn't publicly criticize Scientology.
Interesting. That would be the argument, I guess, to say that Scientology might not be necessarily behind it, or else, if they had their hands in the cookie jar of the estate, then they'd say, hey, don't fight for it. Don't sue. Don't take legal action.
So ever since Scientology got its tax exemption back in 1993, they have a lot to lose by engaging in highly, highly criminal conduct, like trying to orchestrate forged financial records to try and orchestrate a foreclosure of Graceland. Because realize, they might have had a vendetta against, like David Miscavige might have had a vendetta against Lisa Marie Presley, but she's dead. David Miscavige doesn't have a vendetta against Priscilla Presley or Riley Keough. It was Lisa Marie Presley who was dedicated to taking down David Miscavige. Yes, Priscilla and Riley were going along with that, but they were not the band leaders.
No, nor did they ever say anything publicly, ever. And Lisa Marie was about to.
That's right. Now, there was an article recently about Priscilla being at an event with her very close friend and well-known Scientologist, Austrian artist Gottfried. I always say his last name wrong, but Gottfried Helnwein. I don't know.
Wine, probably.
Do you know who I'm talking about?
No, that was just my guess on how to pronounce the name. Helnwein.
Okay. Let me just for a second. Helnwein. Helnwein. My understanding is he's basically a national treasure in Austria, one of the most famous artists, very well-known, high-level Scientologist. And here's what I would say to that. All of the loopholes that I mentioned previously apply to her friendship and relationship with Gottfried. She and Gottfried have been friends forever. Best of friends for absolutely ever. And the fact that she's never publicly criticized Scientology and the fact that she's not declared a suppressive person is why Gottfried is allowed to continue to publicly associate with her. And the fact that Priscilla Presley is Priscilla Presley means, one, she can do whatever the F she wants. And as long as she doesn't publicly criticize Scientology, David Miscavige can't do a damn thing about it. And there was a photo of her that made it look like she may or may not have been wearing a Scientology cross necklace. I would argue that necklace could have been absolutely anything. The Scientology cross was stolen from many other types of crosses. And I would also argue that Priscilla Presley's problem with Scientology is not Scientology, it's David Miscavige. Priscilla Presley hates David Miscavige. Priscilla Presley does not hate Scientology.
Wow.
And she's not so in love with Scientology that she's going to continue to participate in it if she doesn't like what's going on in the organization. And so Priscilla's sort of in this gray area where she can kind of do what she wants. She has nothing to do with Scientology, even if she hangs out with her Scientologist friends. That's my opinion. It's my opinion that my opinion is a fact, but it is still just my opinion.
Interesting. And you don't think it's because of fear for fair game repercussions or anything like that?
What are you going to say about Priscilla Presley? Come on.
Right.
I mean,
this
woman's been being dragged by the press for the majority of her life, you know.
Fascinating.
And there's some things that are just irrefutable. Priscilla and her son Navarone are extremely close. Nobody can call that into question. They're a daily presence in each other's lives. They're very close. And Navarone came on my channel. And he even told me that before he came on my channel, he told Priscilla he was going to do it. And she said, go for it. That was very ballsy for him to say that.
They don't get in trouble that though. Priscilla's not going to get in trouble with Miscavige for giving her son permission. And that's a fascinating part about this.
Well, what's he gonna do?
Right,
I mean,
right,
unless he
right.
publicly declares her a suppressive person, he
Right.
can throw all the tantrums that he wants. It means nothing. She's not answerable to him. She's not responsible to him. It's David Miscavige who should actually be terrified if Priscilla Presley were to ever publicly go after Scientology. The only reason Priscilla and Riley do not speak about Scientology, in my opinion, is so that their Scientologist friends aren't put into a bad spot.
Right.
Riley and Priscilla don't give a damn what David Miscavige says or does. He's nothing to them.
Right.
That's my opinion. And so this is one of the reasons why also you would never see, in my opinion, you would never see Scientology wading into this type of financial fraud just to try and steal Graceland. That's the kind of stuff that would end up with prosecutions against Scientology and would put their tax exempt status at risk. They would never mess around. They don't have there's too much to lose and not enough to gain.
Right. My theory is they just wanted to tie Riley up in court, even though they knew it wasn't a legitimate case. But then you're still going to be found liable for fraud, and you're still going to have people go to jail for forging a document. So why even if you think you could lose, what would be the point of tying that person up in court with resources? I think it does indicate that the effects of Scientology and their power has diminished significantly. You know, it's like when I dealt with the Lisa Marie Presley scene, my station thought they would sue, but they haven't sued anybody for 25 years. So this is another great example, I think, of the paper tiger. Luckily, that Scientology is quickly becoming.
Yeah. And it's funny because in some ways, Navarone being out there doing and saying what he's doing and, you know, being as public as he is and as close as he is publicly with Priscilla is almost kind of flaunting it in David Miscavige's face. Like, look, dude, you got nothing anymore. I love it.
Here's a fun question. Do you ever see, if there's some sort of respect and there's not too much of a fear for the retaliation of Scientology, do you ever see Priscilla like doing the independent Scientology vibe?
Oh, I mean, let me just be honest. I don't know her well enough to have a very strong opinion about that. But I will say this. She kind of liked John Travolta, right? And I can't remember if Priscilla and John were close or not. I cannot remember. Lisa Marie
and John, right? Sure, yeah.
Lisa Marie and John were the best of friends. I just don't know if Priscilla was part of that at all. I see Priscilla and John similarly in that they are people who feel that in their personal lives, through whatever trauma they've gone through as individuals, Scientology, auditing, or counseling has in some way helped them. And I sort of get the impression that they'll just always have a soft spot in their heart for the ways in which they feel they've been helped by Scientology. So if they still feel that way, it would be a piece of cake for them to keep getting auditing outside of Scientology. There's no shortage of people outside of Scientology interested in delivering auditing. I just, couldn't possibly claim to have enough knowledge to know whether they actually care enough about auditing to do that moving forward, or if it's just something that they'll always think about fondly. Yeah, I just don't know.
Right.
I just don't know. I do know this. Navarone, he never said, look, I can speak for my mom, but he was speaking for himself. Right. And he said, I would be horrified at the idea of people thinking my mom was still in Scientology or associated with them or affiliated with them. And I was like, those are strong words.
Wow. Yeah.
Now, there were a lot of people who were like, Navarone's just coming on to do damage control. He's lying to you. And I go, I don't really think that he was. I felt he was being honest. And it's almost like even if he was lying, those lies would still put his mom's somewhat in jeopardy with her Scientology friends. And so you wouldn't just casually lie about things like that on my channel.
Right.
Because you just wouldn't. It would make his mom's life, it would make life difficult for his mom's friends to come on my channel with her blessing and just lie about things like that. So I don't think he was lying.
Right. That's interesting. I wonder, do you ever dream that Priscilla will just say, screw it, and publicly come out? Like, I wonder, is this like the first step or the first ripping off of many different band-aids?
Do I dream that? Yes, that would be amazing. But the reason I don't think that will happen is because Priscilla has nothing to gain by doing that.
Right.
I mean, now I got to tell you, I think people would be shocked to learn that Lisa Marie was actually in need of money shortly before her death. Like, with Graceland, being worth what it's worth. I think the family sold most of Elvis's discography a while back.
Yeah.
I think it would come as a shock that she or anyone in the family would need money. But if it ever came to that, let's be honest, Priscilla could make an absolute bank, a mint, talking with, doing a book talking about Scientology. Right. But unless she needs the money, I would never expect her to do that because she's already Priscilla Presley. Why does she need to be out there being like the next Leah Remini? Why?
Here, one thing I was curious about, which I couldn't find much information, and you might know. Does Scientology have any direct connection with the either behind the scenes or officially with the Presley estate, even if it was 20 years ago? Was there something where they said to Priscilla, hey, give us a chunk or we have some proprietorship? Or is all that kind of chatter? I've heard
so first of all, I have no idea, but I would be shocked if that were true.
Okay, good to know. Right.
Like
and
actual Church of Scientology.
Right.
Here's why I think there's almost no chance that's true. If that were true, Lisa Marie Presley would not have gone on a campaign behind the scenes to destroy David Miscavige and Scientology. If Scientology actually had a stake in the Presley estate,
right,
in any way, shape, or form,
and you have something to lose, right?
You have way too much to lose. Yeah.
Right.
And make no mistake, Lisa Marie Presley was very active behind the scenes, doing everything she could to try and bring down David Miscavige and Scientology.
Fascinating.
Yeah. So, and that's kind of another reason why David Miscavige is going to be like, we're going to let Priscilla do whatever the hell she wants, and we're just going to keep our mouths shut. Right. Gottfried, you want to go hang out with Priscilla? No. Here's some taxi money. Go on.
So they don't have $500 million on the line. Okay. No. That's important to clear up. And this is why I'm glad I'm talking with you, because there are people who will jump to that conclusion. And I even had those thoughts, but then I couldn't find anything public about it. So you need to clear up some of the internal chatter for somebody who actually kind of knows what they're talking about in that regard.
Yeah. All right. I got Barbara in the back office helping me star some comments. Let's see what we've got here. First of all, welcome Juju for Freedom as a new channel member. Amber Vanass says, I love Dodge.
Aw, I love you. Thank you, Amber. I appreciate that. Amber waits to pray.
Amber also says, I read somewhere that Elvis Presley's granddaughter, Riley Keough, is taking over his estate. I don't know if that's true.
Well, that was Dodge, my question, because of the battle right, between Riley and Priscilla, that they seem to be at odds with each other, obviously, with the lawsuit. So I'm glad she's asking that.
So correct me if I'm wrong, because sometimes I read the headlines and I don't read the articles. Is Riley is she not the one in charge of the trust or the estate now?
Yes, but then from what I gather, there was some semblance of a battle where Lisa Marie wanted her to have it, but there was an effort, at least legally, to try to get Priscilla to take it back. So I'm positive that Riley, and at least for a moment, Riley and Priscilla were in direct legal confrontation with each other.
That's right. No, I believed, I did read the articles about that. I believe Riley retained control and agreed to pay Priscilla a certain amount of money.
Right. So maybe they just settled. Right. And then that's the thing too. That's why I'm glad we're clearing this up, because that would be the argument that people might jump to the conclusion that it's side A versus side B, and Riley is still battling it out to this day with Priscilla, and they hate each other. Whereas might have been just a simple result of mediation, where Priscilla is happy that she gets a settlement, and that's how the process is done. No ill feelings or harm intended.
Yeah, that all got ironed out. They issued a public statement that everything's copacetic and we're all good. They may not be behind the scenes, but that's what they said. So we're gonna have to take it at face value. Right. Susan Simon said, I read the FBI is interested in this case. Well, look, if they're forging loan documents, I bet they are.
Do you have any idea about NASA? Apparently they're Florida based.
I got no idea.
Yeah, neither do I. Everybody they're said they're Florida based. Oh, they might be Scientology. And I heard that, but I haven't found the official thing for this. One, I heard they're based in Hollywood. I also heard they did have footprints in Pasco County, which is obviously where Clearwater is. But again, I think people jump to conclusions. But then, and if you're a fake LLC, you could have your creation anywhere and not live there and have no connection to the actual location. But I think there's going to be a lot of FBI follow up. Somebody is definitely trying to scam somebody, right? And even if it has nothing to do with Scientology, these people need to be brought to justice. So there's going to be a lot of follow up with the FBI.
Yeah. Check this out. What would have happened if Riley had not caught this and stopped it?
I
Like,
guess that was the hope, right?
yeah.
Just some hope.
I mean, it would have been impossible for Riley not to have been informed that Graceland was going up to auction. I mean, there are lawyers involved in all this, but yeah. Lori Plays says Priscilla has protected Graceland with fervor ever since it came into her care. I can't imagine her ever mortgaging it. It wasn't Priscilla who mortgaged it, though. It was Lisa Marie.
Right. But even her, and there's a million things that she could have done for an ex. I mean, dude, she could have gone on like Joe Rogan or something, or done some interview and gotten $1 million and then did 2 other interviews, and then boom, she has like $4 million. So the fact that she put Graceland up, I mean, man, she could have taken that one little pink 1960 Jeep inside Graceland, and she could have sold that little Jeep for probably $15 million. So, I mean, yeah, the whole concept of her, of Lisa Marie putting the entire deed of Graceland is it makes no logical sense whatsoever. One little item in Graceland gets her that $4 million. That's how big Elvis is. It's funny. There's some commenters saying nobody cares. Believe me, millions of people still are obsessed with Elvis.
Yeah. When you said that figure earlier about $500 million, are you just quoting what you think the price is of Graceland as a property, or all the contents?
All the contents. All the contents. Graceland as a property itself, they had a number for that as well. That was way smaller. That's tiny. That's 5 million. And that's just because of the nature of how a city grows. And there being in Memphis, that area of Memphis was once considered more suburban, leafy, more privileged. And Memphis has gotten so much bigger that area is now considered to be one of the worst neighborhoods in the urban core of Memphis. So the property value is complete crap because of that. It's like you go in the hood, and I love the hood, but it's like it's in the hood now, Graceland.
Graceland is?
Oh, very much. And around it, I mean, talk about, you'll get some amazing, spectacular soul food, but everything around it is like, it's cool. There's like a weave shop and all that jazz. And it's kind of a fun neck of the woods, but it's certainly not posh, and it's certainly not country. I like it better that way, but it's certainly not country club.
I'm so surprised that just the presence of Graceland wouldn't have created a gentrification effect.
You would think. It's weird. I mean, it's because this is my 3rd time in Memphis. It's not like Nashville, where Nashville has become the new New York. It has become super hip, or the new Denver. Memphis has gotten even more dangerous and less desirable. And so sadly, the Elvis effect brings in a ton of tourism, but it hasn't revitalized the city in the way that tourism in Nashville has, or rents haven't gone. You can still get a nice apartment there for $1,000 a month, which you can never do in Nashville. Which again, I like it better that way. People are more down to earth. Hotels are cheaper. But yeah, it's a down and out city in a neighborhood that is increasingly getting more dangerous. So that's the ironic part, is the property value onto the house itself is the property value is only listed at that because of the Elvis connection. Had it been a ransom house, you could probably buy it for $1 million, $1.5 million.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Epilogue of a Runway says Priscilla saved Elvis's estate with her business acumen. And also, say what you want, but Elvis's money situation wasn't great when he died. And as I understand it, Priscilla's actions saved Graceland for Lisa nearly single-handedly with smart business choices.
Yeah, she knows her stuff. I heard that too.
I mean, I saw the movie. That's kind of, I mean, let's be honest. A lot of these huge world famous artists towards the end of their careers, and Michael Jackson is an example of this, and it sounds crass, but it's just financially true. They're worth more dead than they are alive.
Of course. There wouldn't be an Amy Winehouse movie unless she died. Not to say that she wasn't an amazing artist and she doesn't deserve a good movie, but yeah. I mean, it's
all right.
Your family.
Let's see. Constance June says Riley is in charge of the trust. Lisa's brother, Navarone, got a portion of the estate, and mom got to be buried at Graceland.
That makes sense.
Oh, check this out. Grumpy Flyer 1995 says an Elvis channel is reporting that Graceland EPE, is that Elvis Presley Estates? Graceland EPE insiders have identified someone they think is involved. Okay.
Cool. Wow. Okay. Look out for that. I'm going on one of the in-person interview in Memphis, which will be cool. I wonder if that's them.
By the way, one of these Elvis channels, I'm told, I didn't see the video myself, incorrectly reported that in some video I said Navarone somehow got in trouble for doing a video with me or said he wouldn't do another video with me. I've never said or implied anything like that, just for the record.
It's important to clarify because I've got a lot of new subscribers that are Elvis fans, so I'm glad they're watching this too.
I've never had anything but positive, helpful, supportive, cooperative text messaging conversations with Navarone. There's never been any backpedaling or 180 or anything whatsoever. Okay, there was one other thing I saw here. Trisha G says the strip of road that Graceland is on is only kept nice because of tourist appeal. The rest of Memphis is a hole.
A beautiful hole, a cheap hole, a hole of delicious barbecue, but yes. Nonetheless.
Okay, good. Well, thanks for coming on and sharing the info with me. Are there any other hearings about to occur, or is what's done for now?
I think because I offered to stick around Memphis and even camp out, but you know I think the battle is over before it began, right? So I don't think they're going to have the balls to try to do anything. They know what's good for them. So I think that's over. Speaking of which, I did want to ask you real quick, just to switch gears. I'm curious, just for my own selfishness. May 29th, is there a big hearing with Bixler?
Yes.
There is. Okay, so I should fly out for that. I'm glad I asked.
You going to go back to LA?
Yeah, so I'll probably I'll have to drive into Dallas, fly from Dallas, leave the dog, fly, but I think it's worth going. So yeah, so I guess I'll see everybody in Los Angeles on the 29th. Cool.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, maybe you and I can do a recap after that hearing as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
Oh, you know what? I can't believe it. I didn't show everyone your channel. Guys, if you're not subscribed to Dodge,
Devil's
you
number.
can
Look
find
at that.
him.
666.
What's that?
Devil's number.
Good Lord.
666. Pretty cool.
Oh, boy. Yeah, if you're not subscribed to Dodge, check him out.
Appreciate it.
And I think you'll like what you see. All right, guys. Thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you, as always, to everyone who watches until the very end, and we'll talk to you soon.
Cool. Thank you, guys.
If you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click